All right, everybody, how's it going? Happy Friday. It's Capes and Cowls, big thing. It's the first big thing show where we haven't had a Marvel show to talk about. Well, that's fine. That's not true. I mean, recently, I think it's true. But we do have Black Adam to talk about. Man, that's coming out. That's coming out this weekend. How much is it going to make? What's it going to do? There's big rumors. Big rumors. A lot of reports that Henry Cavill's coming back to the MCU. Yeah, right. That'd be interesting. Coming back to the DC universe, and a lot of people saying that The Rock is the reason why. Rumors swirling that it's going to be Man of Steel 2. So a lot of rumors. Also rumors that, as you saw in the title of this, that Ezra Miller is indeed going to be replaced after The Flash comes out. So we'll talk about that. Lupita Nyong'o talking about Black Panther. Asked that age-old question, is Marvel, our comic book movies, art? She answered that question. Sacha Baron Cohen, rumored to play Mephisto. Yes, I got it right. And I got it right the first time I did it, too, I promise.
Nobody knew.
Nobody knew anything.
You ratted on yourself.
Well, I didn't say anything. You just said it. You said
the first time.
Well, who knows if there was a first time? Maybe inside my head. What do you know about it? Who are you? Are you the voice of God is now talking, and it's just here.
I'm Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, and it's the same voice that was playing Dragon's Lair and kept getting murdered by the same lady over and over again. So we're excited to have you back. There's a lot we're going to talk about because there is a lot in the realm of comic movies, and of course we're going to be talking about our Boom Studios segment. Last week you guys really liked it. Well, we're bringing it back. We're going to talk about the comics that are coming out this week. Some Berserker stuff. I know Coy's very excited to talk about that. So we'll talk about that and more on this episode of Big Thing Capes and Cowls. Now, speaking of which, Capes and Cowls, that shirt is now on the store. It just went live today. So make sure that on our TeePublic store, which you can see in the iCard right there, that if you get it today, when it went on, I think it's like 2 days that it's on sale. There's a lot of designs on there that we have right now. If you like that design, well, you can get it. And how about this one?
The Top Gun guy? The Top Gun guy?
Yeah,
it's art?
The Top Gun guy is on there as well. We also have the Sith Council design, Show Some Class, which is doing the best right now. Farts are my brand, and they can be yours if you get it on the store right now. So make sure you check that out. But once again, Capes and Cowls is up there. Now, a couple other things before we get into it. If you're not part of the Patreon, please do it. Dude, this has been so great, and I can't wait to talk about the guys with this also. I've been doing these one-on-one sessions with you guys. I've been learning a lot about I respond to everybody in comments, and I have conversations with people, but these one-on-one sessions I've been having about a half an hour just learning people, and really I'm meeting a lot of new parents, meeting a lot of new people getting into the podcast space. It's pretty great. So check it out and see if there's anything out there. Our rewatches are up there, and we have Shazam up there right now, or at least it's coming out pretty soon. So check that out. Black Panther next month. Podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are found, but make sure that those two are really important. So please check that out. Excited about it, everybody. Let's get into it. It's Capes and Cowls. I'm excited. You're excited. Everybody's excited. It's the show. Let's do it. Here we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Capes and Cowls. Check out that new logo. It's a mixture of both Zed Million's Capes and Cowls design that you see on the t-shirt store, and then Wicked Art with the character designs. Brian Ward's the Big Thing logo on the bottom. What about Diesel Time? Don't worry. You'll see him for the Boom Studio segment. So, welcome back, everybody. Capes and Cowls. I got Coy.
You can see us.
Look at you. Yeah, you
Look
can
at
see
us.
it. This time you can
camera.
see us. See?
Look at it go.
Winston A. Marshall. There he is. What's up, man?
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
Hey,
Yeah. Not great.
No, I'm fine, man. I just, everybody's always happy about gainful employment, and I'm working on something right now. I'm just tired, bro.
Listen, I hear you.
Because I'm essentially stepping in for somebody that's dealing with a family emergency, and so that just meant that all this work came, and again, happy to do it, but I need more sleep.
Hey, get some kids and then talk to me about it. So, hey, listen. This is going to be fun. We got a lot to talk about here. There's so much. We should just get right into this news because Coy. I was very proud of myself today. I'll tell you that because Coy comes in and I told Coy news that he didn't know about, And I was excited about that because that never happened. And that's this cat.
brand new to me.
Yeah, so let's get right into this thing. This is a report from comicbookmovie.com. And it says The Flash, Warner Brothers is rumored to be eyeing 1917 star George McKay, which I love that movie, and I loved him in it, to replace Ezra Miller as Barry Allen. Now, we're taking this rumor with a pinch of salt right now. I like that they said pinch, not grain. It's like they give it respect, but they still got to be careful. But there are rumblings online that Warner Brothers is looking to cast 1917 star George McKay as the fastest man alive following the Flash movie. The Flash star Ezra Miller may have claimed that they're seeking help after a series of shocking and damaging accusations, but it's becoming clear that isn't enough for many people. What we've heard about this alleged behavior is simply too big of a swallow, particularly if you're a DC Comics fan. Miller was always a divisive choice to play Barry Allen, though their appearance in Suicide Squad and Justice League suggested they had potential as the Scarlet Speedster. There's unsurprisingly a very real lack of interest in seeing the actor take center stage in The Flash, all things considered. Now, with them currently facing decades behind bars in a felony burglary trial, it is obvious Warner Brothers needs to move on from Miller. The fastest man alive should be recast, and there are rumblings online that the studio is zeroing in on 1917 star George McKay. The actor would be a phenomenal choice to replace Miller and is far more in line with the comic book version of The Flash. McKay received widespread critical acclaim for his work in Sam Mendes' Oscar-winning movie, and he has since starred in the likes of Munich, The Edge of War, The Trick, and I Came By. Wasn't Munich since started? Wasn't Munich way before that?
Well, Munich, The Edge of War.
Munich,
it seems like
War.
there must
Thank
be
you.
a sequel or something.
Thank you. Or just a different telling of the story.
Sure.
How Warner Brothers would go about recasting Miller is hard to say. It could likely be done with little fanfare at the end of The Flash. They did recently report to set for reshoots, so when the DC Extended Universe is reset, the controversial actor's take on the hero could have a new face. Until more reliable sources weigh in with their take, it's best not to get too excited. Okay, so there's a lot here, because I don't even know where this report kind of comes from, right? So,
man, he looks surprised that he's about to be.
Yeah, he's like,
cast as
I'm going to be the Flash?
yeah, he's a really good actor.
He is.
He is.
No, he really, really is. I'm just
good.
saying the photo that they chose for the article, he's
Yeah.
like, wait, me?
The Flash? Barry Allen?
Right.
But I do agree with the article saying he's much more comic book accurate. Like, as talented as Ezra Miller is, there's a sardonicness that is more Wally West, whereas Barry Allen's more altruistic and sincere and noble. And the guy is one of the most optimistic characters in comic books. And I feel like McKay has this presence of like classic innocent naivete without being too overly earnest. I think it works. I like the choice.
I mean, I appreciate that they're doing this.
If they are doing it.
If they are, both one, Ezra is facing potentially 2.5 decades behind bars.
Right.
Not good for a franchise.
Not really. Everybody might age. I know Superman's not supposed to age, but Henry Cavill will probably age out by then.
What's going to happen is he's going to start playing his dad. They're going to start playing his dad because he's in prison,
Yes,
and that's going to happen. They're going to zoom in to Ezra in prison.
absolutely.
clever fart.
He's going to take over Billy Crudup's role.
But the other part of it, honestly, is just from the standpoint of I believe in second chances. I believe in people getting the opportunity to make up for stuff like that.
But it's too much.
Well, it's not even just that. I also believe in order to do that, you need to face the consequences of your actions. And I think that allowing to continue to be the face of a multi-million-dollar franchise after everything you've done, I don't.
I agree with you, and I absolutely agree. I think that you hope they get help. You hope that it doesn't happen again. You hope that they're able to turn around. Do I think that Ezra Miller is going to get the maximum? No, not at all.
But any time served is going to be, not really feasible.
No, it's not going to be feasible. But even to be honest, it's not going to be a slap on the wrist.
It's too public.
No, but it's going to be something. It's going to be something, but it ain't going to be. I don't think they're going to do any jail time at all.
Really?
No, I don't. I think that there'll be some, consequences, things. But that being said, I think it's going to be. I think they've already made the decision. Cannot do it. I think that whoever was cast as Flash, I agree with this report. I bet you it's a post-credit scene, which we'll talk about a little bit, because there's post-credit scenes that were apparently shot a couple months ago on movies, and DC is already starting to do that kind of stuff. So I think, I think this, whether or not it's this kid or not, Ezra Miller ain't coming back.
And I think the reshoots they recently did with Ezra Miller was probably something setting this up. Like, I'm wondering if they were even cool with it, right? Like, I don't know how much
You ain't getting paid if you're not.
Well, yeah. Well, I also don't know how much they're invested in this anymore.
Remember this though, the way that certain deals are made, right? I'm assuming because remember how involved Ezra Miller was to getting this thing made.
Yeah.
And how because Ezra Miller at one point, like, this Flash movie isn't going to happen, and it was Ezra Miller who said, no, we've got a script. We're going to make it happen. So they're instrumental in getting it moving again.
And I keep hearing it's incredible. So they were right about...
But here's the thing. Inside of that's the case. Inside of that contract, you better bet your ass that Ezra Miller is going to get some points on it when it comes out in the theater, how it does money-wise. So if it behooves, and that's why that Ezra Miller is also out there making the announcement of I'm sorry, because it behooves Ezra Miller that this movie comes out in the theater, so Ezra Miller can make cash and do it, because that's if it doesn't come out, you ain't making cash. So basically Warner Brothers says, hey, listen, you're gonna shoot this scene, we're gonna put so and so in there, and you're going to play nice, or you ain't going to see a penny from this thing.
Well, I mean, when you also consider the fact that this runs the risk of Ezra never working again, you better get as much money out of this as you possibly can. There is a very high probability that they will never work again.
Yes.
Based off of all of this drama.
Right.
Even if they do...
or independent films down the line, or streaming films, but not big budget movies with cash.
Not studios.
But like, you look at, like, you know, Robert Downey Jr., for example, like, he eventually got back to where he's the superstar that he is, but it definitely was step by step back into it, and it was a full rehab of his image and all that.
You know how that happened, though, too, is that
Favreau and Iron Man, right?
100%. Favreau.
Shane Black, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang too.
Yeah, but well, yes, but that movie was different because it was a smaller movie. I was there during that time.
Oh, that's right.
And Warner Brothers was not pushing that movie, did not push that movie at all. It was just some small thing. They didn't put any marketing into it. Didn't do very well. So
because you were at Silver, right? So you were directly involved in that one.
I went to the premiere and everything. I went to Shane Black's house afterwards, right? And I was upset because Warner Brothers
movie's incredible.
They didn't put anything on that movie, and that was 2005. So Downey is not the star that he is today.
No.
So putting him in a movie like that, it's like, okay, he's not a box office draw, whatever. We don't have to insure. And Joel and Downey were tight, so it made sense. Paramount, which was where Marvel was, didn't want anything to do with Downey. They didn't want to insure it. They didn't want it because that's Downey who was going through these personal demons of addiction, right? And it wasn't like these criminal charges, minus like the stuff for drugs, but it was a self-sabotage more than anything else. He wasn't openly trying to go out and you know, hurt other people or whatever Ezra Miller might be accused of.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to insure him. Favreau had to fight for it.
Right.
Other people had to fight for it. His wife had to fight for it. I think it was his girlfriend at the time, but Susan Downey, and they fought for it, and they fought for it, and they fought for it, and they got it, and he kept himself clean. But it was still one of these things of like, this is a massive risk. And
that's why I agree with
Ezra's worse that risk.
That's why I agree with like redemption, right? Like, you do need to give people opportunity, but there's also a line in the sand where self-harm and certain things that are endangering yourself before others is one thing, but some of the alleged things that Ezra has done is a different story. So I do think there needs to be a cause and effect. That is why I'm wondering if there's jail time, why I'm wondering what comes of this, because there's video on TikTok of him like threatening fans, and the way they've interacted with society doesn't feel like safe right now. So if there's reform over the course of, maybe rehab or time or whatever, I'd love to see them come back better.
I think the thing that's so interesting about this, and I know everybody always loves to get at me and be like, you always bring race into it, but truthfully, I think one of the things that was like really shocking for me is just like a black person in the industry is that like, if I do one thing wrong, that's a wrap, homie. Like that, there is no coming back from that period. So it's one of those situations where dude's super rich, dude has been an A-lister for a minute, for they to continue to be in the news for nonsense and feel like nothing was coming. Yeah. I want Ezra to get well, and I want Ezra to be able to...
there should be consequences.
But there should be consequences.
It's also got to be proved. Also, agreed. And also, everything has to be there to where it's proven, right? So, I mean, like what I will say is, let's say someone like Will Smith, Will Smith will come back.
Yes.
Will Smith will be in big blockbuster movies again. There's no doubt. People, I don't think, not everybody is ready to forgive yet. There are a lot of people who are.
Right.
There are a lot of people who are like, nah, it's too soon. It's not even a year. Guarantee. Roll this tape back in, 2 or 3 years when Will Smith is opening big blockbuster movies again. It is a guarantee it'll happen because that is enough time that people will forgive at that point.
I think
right?
so. I also think you got to look at the crime and the punishment, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The difference is the thing is when you look at the Ezra Miller stuff, when you look at it, it seems really bad.
Yeah.
We still don't know like what is all. I'm not saying there isn't proof. There's clearly proof, but it's like what is the actual proof? What is it? And when that's presented in the case and all that stuff, we'll know more. With Will Smith, it's like, what's the proof? Well, he slapped the guy in the face
on like international.
in front of
We know
millions
the
of
entirety of the journey.
We know everything that happened. So right there, that's just like, okay, that everybody can know. Well, we don't know if he did it. We do.
Sure.
But with Ezra Miller, it's like, we know that there's something really shady going on and bad.
Yeah.
But what is it? And I hope I agree with you. When we get to this trial, whatever it might be, if there's something that maybe Ezra Miller says, okay, look, there's enough evidence, or his attorney said there's enough evidence, plea. You got to do something. But either way,
we're going to get the things
You're
brought
getting
to
a new-
public, and we're going to see what it all is.
yes, and either way, you're getting a new Flash. I mean,
Yeah,
I
either way,
think-
and I think to the story itself, I do think George McKay is a great choice.
It's a good choice.
Yeah,
I
right,
really do.
right. Yeah, but it is all relevant. But yes, it's true. Like George McKay or somebody else is. I hope that this is true. I hope that this. I don't know where it comes from. I mean, comic book movie is even saying take it with a pinch of salt, as they say. I don't know where it comes from. They didn't list it as far as. I mean, I think maybe there was like someone had heard something or whatever it might be. And I'm never going to be someone who says like, it comes from really, unless it's someone a website that is notoriously just making things up.
Sure.
But if it's a smaller site that might have contact, it's very possible. That's why I thought like I don't do this anymore, but I have to. There's a really stupid thing that came out like last week after Jeff Snyder reported that we should probably talk about this too. Harrison Ford replacing replacing the late great William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross, and Snyder broke that.
Every network was like exclusive, and I'm like, no, Snyder.
There was one particular thing that there was one. Yes, it was Hollywood Reporter. I can't remember who did it. Who said the exclusive? That was one thing. But then this one guy, I can't remember what the hell where he was, and it was a prominent magazine, and he's like, well, this is take it from this obscure podcast, blah blah blah. Who take this with whatever it might be. It's like it's Jeff Snyder, guy. The guy's been working for Variety, Hollywood Reporter, all of it. He is not a guy who just makes up stuff. He is like a really good reporter. He might have a loud personality,
but as a reporter,
he's not reporting stuff unless he's got it, and he's been reporting it. So do your research. Don't just be a stupid ass and go, well, I don't know what this show is, so I'm an elitist fart bag. And it's like, don't do that.
No, I agree with you. I think the problem is everybody's just gotten real cynical because everybody
people
on the internet, and the other
but do
problem
your research. It's Jeff Snyder.
Oh, I don't disagree with you because the other problem is did they specifically mention like this?
He's like it comes from this obscure show with for the Hot Mic with John Roca and Jeff Snyder.
Got it.
And it's like do your research. The guy's been around for like 10 years, 15 years.
No. That is fair. I guess you know how sometimes you feel like you're playing telephone, so maybe you didn't know the original source was Jeff, and so but if they mentioned that it was him, then
but again, what kind of reporter are you if you just
I don't disagree.
If I know where I can't even get Mephisto's name, Mephisto.
Mephisto.
If I can't get his name right, and I can tell you that I know. Oh, I didn't know that it came from Roca's show until I found it. Like I was reading a report, and
I didn't realize that.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Someone accurately gave them credit, and that's how I found out about it.
I get it. You just know how the internet is a giant
course,
trash bonfire.
Yes.
So like sometimes it is hard to find the source of stuff, but I get you.
And sometimes it's really hard to find good coffee, but not anymore. Trade coffee, we got it, and I'm going to talk about too. What I did, I made sure that this time when the peeps came over, that I gave them a cup.
Delicious.
It's so good. We got there's hazelnut, honey, berries, Familia Pixado from Brazil is what I have right now, and it's when he walked in here, it smelled like a family coffee shop.
It smells so good. The first thing I said when I walked in.
So good in here. It's great, and we're so excited to. Brett and I were talking about it too. That you know what we're going to do? We're going to set up this. I purposely bought this little because I've used the pods and everything too in the past, and I've had an espresso machine, but I wanted to get something that I could brew. and I got this, and man, I'm so glad that I did, and I'm so glad that I'm with Trade Coffee. So if you guys didn't know what it was, are you guys familiar with Trade Coffee?
I am not.
Now you are. So Trade Coffee, for what it is, it's a coffee subscription service. And it's simple for you guys to discover new coffees and make your best cup of coffee at home every day. No fancy equipment required. Like I said, just did the pot, done. It was delicious. And going to a coffee shop, it's awesome. Everybody loves going to a coffee shop. But you don't do it every day. You can't. It's pricey. And if you're looking for that delicious local coffee shop taste on a daily basis, it's a lot easier to do it. You do it with Trade Coffee. What they do is they partner with the nation's top-rated independent roasters, and they send you coffee that you know that you're going to love. They send it fresh to your house, and they do it on your preferred schedule. And you get to support small local businesses, and that's a win-win. That's the coolest part.
I like that.
I like that a lot. And so again, we have this coffee that we got from Brazil, and it's made from hazelnuts, honey, it's berries. It's really good. It smells delicious, and it tastes delicious. I'm fired up with it. And just gave me. I was so excited to try it. The other day we did it, and I love it. So. I was trying the dark roast, but I like this one. I really like this one. So, whether you're getting started as a coffee aficionado looking to discover something new, Trade, it guarantees that you're going to love your first bag. Or here's this: they're going to give you a new one for free, and that's pretty great. Yep. And I'm going to probably have another one. So
we can do a mid coffee break. I'm not mad at it.
I think I'm going to do it as well. So anyway, check it out. Trade is offering our listeners. This is the best deal. $30 off your subscription, plus free shipping at drinktrade.com/bigthing. Coy is literally looking.
I'm actually looking at it right now.
Drinktrade.com/bigthing. You should do this. Is when I knew that they were coming on board, I said Coy's going to lose his mind on this one.
I don't like to pick favorites, but
I get
coffee.
it. I get it. Drinktrade.com/bigthing for $30 off your subscription for the best coffees in the country. Try it at drinktrade.com/bigthing. All right, for people, once again, I've kind of mentioned this over and over and over again, but just to hammer down the point. As you know, we have the T-shirt store, we have the Patreon, we have all the stuff that you guys, and for people who have gotten stuff on the Amazon list, all that, and people have asked, like, how can I help? How can I help the show? Whether you put a like and a comment, that helps. With your podcast, Spotify. One of the fun things about the sponsorship, though, is not only do you help the show, you're helping yourself, right? If you're a coffee fan and you love coffee, and you're going out to the store and you're going to your supermarket, get this. It helps me. It helps you. It helps them. It helps everybody. And it's delicious. Go ahead, Coy.
Okay, so I drink about 7 cups of coffee a day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's the only way I do as much as I do. People are like, how do you do so much? It's coffee. But coffee, over time, especially living in LA, has added this like strange soapiness. There's like a lot of really cheap coffee that has almost a soapiness to it. Because
I love how much you're loving this.
Oh, I'm invested. This, good people, is like a richness and a sweet earnestness, much like George McKay as the Flash, that I really enjoy, and the energy will also make me much like George McKay in the Flash. So I'm very ready for everyone that complains that they watch every other podcast at 2 times speed are about to be watching this at half speed, because frankly, this sponsor is made for me.
It really is. When I thought, and that's why I wanted to make sure you had a cup when you walked in today.
Very excited. I also got stuck in traffic and then had to find parking like way far away. And I love that like these guys are good enough friends. They're like, make sure he has coffee first before we talk to him.
And look, I've been saying it for a while. We wanted a coffee sponsor for a bit because I'm an avid coffee drinker, and I love that idea of the local coffee mom and pop shops, and the fact that it smells like
smelling
that
like that in here is a great ambiance.
It's great, man. It's great.
This might be the first sponsor outside of JOYMODE that Kristian is going to be like geeking out about.
Awesome.
Because like
$30 off a subscription is
great. Bananas.
That's great when they said that. So anyway, so the link is in. There was an iCard during that the ad, and then also inside of the description itself, you can go, please. And when you do sign up, please let me know in the comments the way you always have, and let me know what you think about it, and let me know how you feel about it in general.
Let me know what your favorite flavor is.
Yes,
and I really am curious about flavors. Like flavor palettes.
You do this, so when you sign up, and make sure you use the code. Obviously,
yeah.
Tell us.
That should help us.
Yeah, should help. Well, no, but also, but not just for help us, because you want to get $30. You want $30 off. Tell me what flavor you get, and then maybe you can bring some in.
Oh, I like that idea.
And then you bring it in when you.
I like this crowdsourcing flavors.
Yes.
That's how we're gonna sound real soon, you guys.
Yeah. All right, so this guy, and now this guy.
Oh, I'm so excited about this guy.
So I'm curious about this guy. I do love Sacha Baron Cohen. For people who are listening, what are you talking about? This guy, Sacha Baron Cohen is rumored to play Mephisto. Is he joining the MCU? Well, this one is from, where the hell is this? This is from Deadline. Speculation is growing, or who knows if it's from Deadline? It could be from somebody else. That's not true. I don't know if Deadline was.
Well,
the one who
it
did
says that Deadline.
No, but I can't remember. What Coy was saying before. So I can't remember if it was Deadline or Hollywood Reporter. Someone said it was an exclusive report, and where they tried to take it from Snyder.
I want to say it was Boris Kitt.
No, it was not Boris.
No, okay, because I dig that dude's writing.
Yeah, like it wasn't Boris. Didn't
he broke something big this week that I was excited about.
But it wasn't.
Okay,
Boris didn't do that. No,
okay.
I like Boris. Speculation is growing that Sacha Baron Cohen has entered the Marvel Cinematic Universe with a role in Marvel Studios' upcoming Disney Plus series Ironheart as a comic book villain. A source close to the production confirmed to Deadline that there is talk on the set about Cohen being part of Ironheart, likely playing Mephisto. He has also been spotted at the Marvel facilities located at UK's Pinewood Studios. Reps from Marvel and Cohen have refused to comment on any Cohen involvement in Ironheart or the larger MCU. Like with any Marvel characters, word is that Cohen would appear in other projects. If the Mephisto alter ego is confirmed, that could include the upcoming WandaVision spin-off Agatha, Coven of Chaos, as Mephisto had a presence but was never shown on the Praise Mothership series starring Elizabeth Olsen. Word of Cohen's potential Marvel investments started spreading on social media this weekend, with multiple comic-focused Twitter accounts reported on the rumor of Cohen's casting as a villain, with attention ultimately focusing on Mephisto as the lead theory for his role. It's a 6-episode Ironheart created by Chinaka Hodge, stars Dominique Thorne as Marvel characters Riri Williams, a genius inventor and creator of the most advanced suit of armor since Iron Man. Previously announced cast also includes Anthony Ramos. Is Anthony Ramos from Winter Soldier?
No, he's from In the Heights, and
no. But he's saying from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the dude that took the wings.
And he's
right?
Top Gun.
No, that's something Ramirez.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Shea Coulee and Zoe Takaris.
Danny Ramirez.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Stop that. Word of Cohen's likely MCU casting comes on the heels of Deadline story about Harrison. Deadline story.
Oh, there it is.
It is not Deadline story. So this was right. It was not your story. Deadline. Eat a bag of shit. It's not your story. I hate that shit. You're the thieves. Taking on the role, so let me reword that. Word of Cohen's likely MCU casting comes on the heels of Jeff Snyder's story about Harrison Ford taking on the role of General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross in Captain America: New World Order. Best known for his docu-comedy movies, most notably the hit Borat franchise, Cohen also is nominated for Aaron Sorkin's The Trial of Chicago 7. He also starred.
Bro, that's so trash that they did that.
That's what
they do that all the time.
Deadline does it all the time.
There's like people I know that you'll send them like a meme or something, and they go, "Dang, that's hilarious!" And the next thing you know, they tweet it out like they came up with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, "What are you doing?"
So that happened recently, and this was not. I'm not. And Sonny and Kat, who I love, this was not. They didn't do this on purpose. So my buddy Brian Monarch is a comedian. And did you see the thing going around where Arnold was deepfaked over?
Oh, so good.
My friend did that.
Yeah,
and
I shared your retweet because it credited him.
So right. So someone, not Sonny and Kat, so someone stole it. And then Sonny and Kat saw it, and then they retweeted. They didn't even put his name on it. Not Sonny and Kat, the other people. They just put it out there, and Brian was like, "What the hell, man?" Mm-hmm. He does these all the time. Him and Joe Gaudet, who does it, and I will humbly say this, kills my Arnold's.
Really?
Oh, dude, this guy's Arnold is out of control.
Wow.
But, I almost want to play a little bit of it. Like Joe Gaudet's Arnold is the best Arnold I think ever.
Yeah. Either way, I think the thing that's so frustrating about it, like I even saw that yesterday. I was just on TikTok, and I did a TikTok way long ago.
Sorry, Winston. Let me just.
That's
let me
fine. Play
just,
it if it's ready. Yeah.
Let me
I was just
play
killing
this.
time.
Oh, this guy's great.
Yeah, he's really.
I didn't know his name.
Joe Gaudet, and he's the one who does it with Brian. So let me make sure that I have it so everybody can hear it, because I want to give Joe the credit. He's really good. Oh, I'd love to get him on this show. So this is Joe Gaudet's Arnold, and I just want to make sure you guys can hear. Okay.
This is the stupidest one yet. And now, something Arnold Schwarzenegger would never say, but I'll say it because I can do his voice!
Well, listen, they wanted to welcome you all to the new Terminator 2 Italian cuisine-inspired restaurant, and it's called Pasta La Vista. And if you noticed, all of the restrooms are equipped with the state-of-the-art Dyson hand dryers. But no, these are not the regular hand dryers. It's actually Miles Bennett Dyson. He stands over the sink when you wash your hands. You put your hands in front of Dyson, and he goes, and the restaurant explodes. I mean, there's no two ways about it. The restaurant can only be open one day because Miles Dyson ruins it and Cyberdyne explodes. You remember the movie, but it is a fantastic idea, right?
Joe,
dude, that was incredible. And I was reading the comment of that accent. It was like, he goes, "Was that auto-tune? Because I noticed your tone changed."
Yep, that's called talent.
Like, he goes, "Bro, you're on a witch hunt. That is my voice.
I'm a voice actor.
I'm a voice actor."
Just do any research on Joe, and he does it. He's
incredible.
He's incredible.
Bro, that's crazy.
Yeah.
He also does a good Ryan Reynolds too, if memory serves.
He does a bunch of different people.
But,
so Joe, Josh Robert Thompson, and Jamie Costa are the best that for me. Out of the three of them, they're so good. And then also there's another guy that I just found out about recently that my buddy Adam Ray had on his show that everybody knows about now, but it's this same guy who does like a spot on Howard Stern. Have you heard of this guy?
Yeah, I've seen him on TikTok.
Really
I
good.
discovered your buddy by he was like sitting in Ryan Reynolds' trailer doing an impression, then it panned over to Ryan like glaring at him.
Yes. So
I was really impressed.
To be up front, my buddy is Brian, who works with Joe.
Got it.
Joe we just started following each other. I've had 2 conversations with Joe, and it was because I shared this stuff, but I'd love to have Joe on the show. But anyway, that all comes from giving credit where credit is due. And
do you think you would mind? I can't do Arnold, so I'm not going to do that. But that's actually a really funny idea. I might do that same shit with Barack, though. That actually be things Barack would never say.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a
that would be
market, man.
super funny.
It's funny.
That's what TikTok's for. Chaos.
Well, all I was saying, the thing that was pissing me off, I did a TikTok where it was like, if your dick made a sound when it got hard, what would it be? And I put the THX sound behind it and just had this shit-eating grin. And then all of a sudden, I saw this, and someone did it and completely took me out of it, took all the audio.
I saw that on Deadline. Yeah.
Right after they spoiled the end of Eternals, they posted your, and it wasn't you. It was that
lame.
same guy.
It's just so lame that they did that. But anyway, let's get to the actual story itself. The story.
Oh, there's a news story.
That's right. The story of Sacha Baron Cohen playing. Okay, so here's what I got to talk to you guys about because I don't know enough about it. Right. So my first fear. And I will preface this by saying Sacha Baron Cohen is a phenomenal actor. He really is. As I said, he's been nominated for drama roles, and he's been in stuff where he's great. But you right away
worried about Ali G, Borat.
You think about comedy.
See, I think he wants this because it wouldn't be comedy. To me, actually, him being cast reads as a more serious Mephisto because automatically he doesn't want to always be Borat. If he does something as big as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I doubt he'd want any comedic elements in it. But
I hope you're right.
not any. I doubt he'd want too many because Mephisto has an impishness. He's got, he's the devil.
And Catherine Hahn is also
that's
comedic
the perfect
actress.
line.
And Catherine Hahn balanced it both from. Wasn't a goofy role.
No, that's what I see is malicious, nefarious comedy, and I think he can nail that. Plus his bone structure.
Not to come at you, Kristian, but you're too old to have been like a big like Powerpuff Girls fan, right?
No, I watched it last night. I thought it was great.
Oh, okay,
I liked
great.
the most recent episode,
Awesome.
and I think that the one with Gary Busey is my favorite.
I
Can
say
we
that.
just acknowledge the not to come at you? You're
You're
too
old.
old.
Yeah,
it literally was like the next sentence.
I just know it's right outside his generation. So I say that because one of the
big Powerpuff guy.
Oh, dude, that was my jam back in the day.
Mojo Jojo.
Dude,
and
Mojo Jojo. But so I was going to bring up him. So him is specifically making fun of Mephisto.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's this idea that prior to the reveal that, oh, crap, it's actually Mephisto, a lot of times it is like one more day. Like it's this little girl that like Peter's talking to, and then it turns out, actually, it's me, Mephisto. This would have been your child. Because I could, he's the devil. So
what does he do?
What the devil would do. He's after souls. He's after making deals
so it would make sense that he pops up in that act.
It is part of the reason why they were so sure that Mephisto wasn't going to happen in Marvel because there's such a strong rule in China about not depicting the devil.
But we're learning more and more that we don't need the Chinese market as much. And that's what I think this is. I was more interested in the ramifications of being like, we're going to do this even if China doesn't want us to. And I think using Mephisto and Ironheart is really interesting because I think this is how the Hood gets his powers.
Yes,
I think the Hood.
That's probably what they're going to do.
Right? Like I could totally see it being a deal with
to people who don't know what that is.
So the Hood is Matt Ramos.
Anthony Ramos?
Matt Ramos is a.
Let's go!
Right. He's back. He's back. I like that kid.
Oh,
man.
he's a
sweet kid.
He literally
he's a
just
nice
turned 21 and he gets so much crap.
He's a nice
He's just
kid.
so excited.
He's just excited.
Dude, Mike and him on Twitter, man. I'm like, bros.
Mike's like that grouchy old man
Yeah, no,
like shaking his stick.
I rarely think of Mike as old man yells at cloud until there's like the occasional reference or Matt Ramos.
I get a kick out of it.
Oh, it's so interesting
it's
because I've known
hilarious.
Soups for years, so I didn't know Mike had this thing. Anyway, shout out to Mike
yes.
Kalinowski and Soups feud online.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But I do think
Is it a feud?
it's a one-way feud.
An old man. Stop riding your bike so fast down the street.
You seem happy about things you love. But the Top Gun guy, this coffee is kicking in.
Top Gun guy?
But I think Anthony Ramos is going to play the Hood in the movie, and in the comics, the Hood is a character that basically is a 2-bit criminal that gets an all-powerful cloak that he's able to do magic with, and his guns become magic, and he kind of like if the Cloak of Levitation imbued powers into you.
Okay.
You're going to need to get that from somewhere, and it's demonic in the comic books. Cut out the middleman, just go Mephisto, and then that's going to tie into the occult we're getting with Werewolf by Night, with the eventual Ghost Rider, with all these things. I think it makes sense to start this early.
I agree. I completely agree. And you know, I think what I'm most excited about, I know people hate One More Day. I know that people genuinely do not like that story, but the number of times Mephisto comes in and just has more philosophical kind of storylines that I really like get excited about. I'm excited that they are going to be introducing this character because there are so many storylines. The only thing that would have been more interesting is if we had been closer to the actual like Infinity Gauntlet kind of saga if Mephisto had shown up in that regard, because there's the level of like Mephisto trying to stay on Thanos' good side in that regard.
Also, have you heard obviously we've got Kang coming, and there's been some Wonder Man rumors, my boy, but I also think it's really interesting that we're getting the on-camera stuff like She-Hulk and Wonder Man and those things, but also if you look at the Disney Plus shows, we've got the Field of Reeds in Moon Knight, we've got the Asgardian Valkyrie world of the undead. We've also got the Veil in Miss Marvel. How many afterlives do we have? Now we bring in Mephisto. What if those are realms after you die?
That was the one thing.
And Mephisto, because we talked about that.
That was the one thing that was also interesting is that they didn't show Hela in her realm.
Right.
Because that is a whole nother afterlife that she was.
I think we're getting into this
of.
other side of reality. And what would be more interesting than maybe someone making a deal with the devil to bring back Iron Man or bring back Steve Rogers?
Is that how it plays also into, I know that we're delaying it now, but with Blade, is that how we start to get into supernatural?
Yeah, so I think we're going to use, if I had
Ghost
my
Rider,
way.
there's a lot of.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Werewolf by Night came out and did gangbusters and then Blade got moved. I think we might go more.
Why do you say that?
Because I think the tone of Werewolf by Night is exactly what Blade should be, and I think the original tone of that 89-page script that Mahershala said he didn't like.
It's a little bit of both.
I think it's causation correlation.
Yes,
I think after the success, now we're going to see a more Werewolf by Night-ish Blade. Because now they're restarting.
So you think they're going to just retool what
I think Midnight Suns is going to be that flavor.
I especially because isn't there a Midnight Suns game about to come out too? And there's been a lot of hype about that. I think once they realize, like you said, they can step into this darker part of Marvel and it can flourish. I agree that they probably were like, let's turn this up a little bit.
Also, these one-shots I think are the most powerful asset they've had since honestly, since Disney Plus started, is you can do, imagine a Jean Grey hour-long leading up to X-Men. Imagine Cyclops getting his own. Imagine Storm getting an origin that she deserves. And then when you meet them in the movies, you've got them already established.
Right.
You don't have to do 20-minute origin because you've got an hour origin. So I could see them, after Werewolf by Night success, not only doing Occult and Midnight Suns, but also going towards one-shots being a bigger...
So doing a giant-size X-Men, a giant-size...
Like annuals.
Yeah.
Well, so, again, you guys have definitely got me more excited about the news, and I love Sacha Baron Cohen. I really do. I was just...
I understand because you've been worried about how jokey everything's been.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is that
Ironheart's tone, I think, helps.
It did.
Ease
when we saw the trailer, we saw the footage and stuff too. It didn't seem too jokey
at all.
Ironheart
It actually looked way more not espionage in the sense of Secret Invasion, but it had a crime element.
I think it had a Winter Soldier Falcon feel.
Yeah, right?
A little bit more to it. It did. It didn't feel as hokey as say what's the one, Hawkeye.
Right. It felt more like a crime drama.
Yes, it did. So by putting him in there, it just wouldn't make sense if he starts, because what I am worried about is that it does turn out to be one of those kind of silly characters from Hawkeye, like when
I don't think that would fit in Ironheart. Which is a good sign.
I hope you're right. And so you guys saying it makes me happy. Let me ask you a question though, that I wanted to get your thoughts on. She-Hulk, Daredevil, And Tony Stark before Pepper. Who's the horniest?
Ooh.
And before you think about that, which one do you think uses JOYMODE? All right. So, JOYMODE, everybody. JOYMODE, if you didn't know, JOYMODE is one of those things you're sitting around and I'm at the gas station and look at all those pills I see over on those are going to help me in the bed. That's going to help me. Yeah, those are terrible for you. Really bad for you. Like, not good for your system at all, like damage type stuff. Even some of the stuff that you can get over the counter or prescription, not the best. Sometimes they leave you, it's not Joe Gaudet, but I'll tell you, sometimes I take it and I get it from the prescription, and it's almost like it's Conan's sword all over again. I got it for hours, almost like a month. Cannot do that. It hurts. And you don't want to do that. So what JOYMODE does, it's like a pre-workout for sex. It's the same way. Oh, I don't need that. I'm doing good. It's not about that. It's like the same thing when you work out in the gym. You need something to give you a little boost, energy. This gives you a boost, and then some. Every time somebody comes in here, I'm not going to say who. Somebody's birthday, some wife's birthday is coming up soon. I say, hey, you got JOYMODE? Yeah, exactly, because you know exactly what's going to happen. I got friends that come in here now and ask me for it. Everybody's asking for JOYMODE, and you guys can get it and get 30% off. Use joymode.com/bigthing. This one you don't mess around with. Do it. Get it. Get it now. Use joymode.com/bigthing. Get that discount. It's in the description. It's in that iCard. You're gonna thank me. All right.
I love the idea if you look at dealer, you're just like shelling out JOYMODE. Like a thing you look at online, you're like, by the way, I got that good.
But here's the difference, though, because you can't do that with the prescription
No.
stuff.
Yeah.
You
don't know reactions.
This is like natural stuff.
Yeah.
This is natural stuff where you put it in and you shake it up inside of a drink, and it's like a supplement. That's the difference. You can't. Those pills need to do that.
Yeah,
you never hear me say
it's a
that on
liability.
It's coffee for your dick.
Yeah?
Oh, all right. Well, we got some other news that we're gonna get into.
So I took your question to heart. I listened. All right, we had a question, very important question.
Oh, yes.
She-Hulk,
Oh, yes,
Daredevil,
yes.
Tony Stark before
Yes.
Pepper. Okay, so I would argue Tony Stark used it as escapism because he was trying to, calm all of his other addictions. So I'd say that's a negative horniness. Daredevil, I think he used it to abate some of his Catholic guilt, and he was trying to feel free. Whereas She-Hulk uses it as an empowerment because she feels free, and the Hulk has a lot of instincts, and so does Jen Walters. So I think Jen is able to be the freest and the horniest. JOYMODE for Jen.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta go, Tony.
Yeah, I think Tony.
I gotta go, Tony.
I liked your nice answer, but
It was
Tony.
did you ever see him in the first? I mean, the first one, when the first movie. I mean, come on, dudes.
Everybody.
He turns to the left and he's banging.
yeah. Like I just
Good try,
on top of the fact,
I thought it too much. I thought through too much.
on top of the fact that I'm thinking about him in the comics, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking about the fact that the number of people he's just seduced at one point or another.
You're a billionaire.
My man in Iron Man 3 in the beginning winds up not only having this romantic thing with this woman for one night, solves her science equation that night, and then forgets her name all in one shot. I mean, this guy is like, come on.
Happy has to come clean it up all the time. That's why they call him Happy.
She even said, although Star-Lord 2, the Jackson Pollock painting.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I mean,
That-
I don't know.
And he's
But
got more species.
That's
of
true.
I
like,
agree.
that's
It's true.
impressive.
So look, I will give
rocket
you.
fucks,
I would.
too.
Oh, 100%
your
rocket
one?
fucks.
One I needed.
Yo, I will give you that She-Hulk is maybe the healthiest.
Yeah, I
horny.
think the problem was I went healthy, not number,
not just
volume.
pure horny.
Just talking about who's running around like a rabbit.
I went quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
I mean, I went quantity, not quality. That's the issue.
Because I think the other thing you got to put in it, like, it's not that Jen isn't charming in her own right,
Right.
but Tony is mad charming, is mad rich. Like,
And was already a famous person, like throughout his adolescence.
Right. So Tony's.
He's got the
I think
numbers.
Tony's-
All right, I'll give him the
yeah,
numbers.
I think Tony. Thor could have been if he wanted to be, but
I mean,
if
yeah,
he
made
wanted
some
to,
choices.
there's always hella women after
Thor.
him.
Sure.
So like Lady Sif.
Turn down
everybody,
Lady
like,
Sif is.
yeah,
Woo. I mean,
yeah.
if it wasn't for Natalie Portman.
well, even what was the one that I watched recently where it was Ultron when the doctor was like, "Is Thor going to be there?"
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah. Speaking of which, by the way, so we're doing the MCU rewatch right now, and I'm keep giving updates as we
Yeah.
get through. Right now, did we finish Ant-Man? Oh, we finished Ant-Man. We're on Civil War right now. We're on
Love
Civil War
so much.
My daughter is
Good
like,
movie.
she's loving it, man. She's like, it's adorable, like watching it, because she's just so she had to do a couple things at school, so she's been trying to put her to bed a little early. So she's like, "Come on, just a couple minutes." I'm like,
that's amazing.
Not yet. She's like, "Come on, just a couple minutes of Civil War." I'm like, "Not yet. We'll do it the weekend. We'll knock it out." So
it's so interesting how they did such a good job. Obviously, Phase 3 is supposed to be Act 3 of this saga and whatnot, right? But it's amazing how that film really became kind of that in the
Civil War.
Yes. Yeah. The kind of the inciting incident for Act 3. In the fact that, like, if you thought you were going to get a nasty taste in your mouth in Infinity War, they really set up what you're going to be feeling in a few movies. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, sure. I just thought it was really, really, really well done.
All right. So, all right, how are we going to do this? We'll do it. That's good.
Gets in the one camera. He's like, make sure it's a close up. Make sure it's a water.
How are we going to do this?
Literally
on the close up. I love that.
Your side.
Hey guys, Brett's here, and let's. If you were curious if I was actually enjoying this coffee, Brett just made me a refill while we're on camera and very subtly handed it to me.
Oh my God.
Also, he brought his tools to make sure the coffee maker was working, and apparently there was a battle just now.
You know who I saw this past weekend, Christian, that it blew my mind?
Ralph Biscuits?
Yeah, Ralph Biscuits, yeah. Crazy bastard, bro.
He's back.
He's trying to do pickleback shots.
He got out last night.
Sabrina Ramirez, and just in the fact that I didn't realize that she was on the show for 2 weeks before the pandemic hit. I thought she was in here longer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She came in studio. You mean? Because
yeah.
She was on. She was
on the digital. I remember, but I mean, like, she was in studio for like 2 weeks officially as like a permanent. I'll be here Fridays, and then the world stopped. It just blew my mind because time is now. Yeah, she did. She's working. Yeah.
But she's doing good. So, all right, listen. Before we
I know that's random, but
we got some stuff.
It's not my fault, bro.
Not your fault.
Because it froze on me. I thought it would just
your
go.
fault?
Bitch, that's not my fault. Hold on, let me see. Let me see how fast it is. All right, I just needed to see how. All right, I'm good.
All right, here we go. Yeah. All right, so now it's that time of the show. We're excited. Boom Studios is here, ladies and gentlemen. They sponsored this segment. We're excited to talk about it. Let's get to it. It is. Boom, ladies and gentlemen. It is the segment of the show where we are going to talk about some comics, some comic books, and we're going to start here with Eve, Children of the Moon. So, if you didn't know, we were already telling you guys about the fact that Boom Studios, who we're very excited to be working with, they sponsored this segment of the show where we're going to talk about, like, Boom Studio, Coy, as we talked about, they are like they have been just annihilating with how fast, as you said.
Like, probably the fastest rising studio I've seen since the Image era. Like, this is truly the modern Image in that they're just, everything is a hit. Everything is spectacular. And the way they've been able to grow their business has been so, like, authentic to comic fans. Like, it doesn't feel, it feels like if a bunch of my friends are running a comic company and they know what they're doing.
So just dealing with them thus far and talking to them, and the fact that they're already enriched in what this space is and paying attention to it. They listen to the audience. They knew Capes and Cowls. They knew this stuff, and they like, just talking to them like they get it, right?
Yep.
So they have this as you see on the screen, Eve, Children of the Moon, #1. So this is the highly anticipated return of the best-selling science fiction adventure, and it's finally here. This is the sequel to Eve by Hugo and Nebula Award nominated author Victor Laval. Follows the journey of a young girl who was raised in virtual reality on a dying planet. All right, so already you got me on board with that. Children of the Moon picks up right where the original story left off, bringing us back to the unique dystopian setting. It's now out, and it's at your local bookstore, and you can catch up with the entire first adventure in the Eve paperback collection.
That is another thing they're doing really well, is when things go well, they're very good at bringing back sequels in a timely manner where you're still excited to get back into the world, and they collect in trades quickly. Like the next thing we're going to be talking about, they're very efficient at making sure books are accessible, because a lot of times things sell out and they're only doing a print or two. So making them collectible in trades and stuff, smart move.
You know what, Winston, what I really like about them so far, even the stuff that we've covered so far, I like that it seems, and you can tell me, Coy, if I'm wrong, it seems that they really dive deep into like science fiction.
Very, very science fiction based.
That's my jam.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's like comics in the Bronze and Gold Age. There was a lot more of that like extra world growth.
Yeah. So what I like about it is like obviously superheroes and everything too. It's a massive thing, but you still hear sometimes like you want more. And I think there's a misconception from definitely the general audience that, comic book movies, I'm done with it. Sometimes people don't even realize the stuff that comes from comic book movies and stuff like this, like science fiction and all that stuff. Like that is what I think Boom is doing very well with their comic books. They have different types of genres, different types of, like their horror stuff, the stuff that they have. You can easily see it all being made into film and TV.
I mean, honestly, you're just talking about science fiction. Some of the best books that I have read in the last like couple of years have all been Star Wars books.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't even mean like the novels. I mean comic books. Like I mean the Vader series has been phenomenal. Have you been reading it?
I started. I've got my own take on comic book lore with Star Wars that we'll get into another.
You know what I will
fair.
recommend for you though,
Yes.
as a Predator fan, now that Marvel is part of Fox and Fox is part of Disney, all of that is Marvel making Predator comics that are bitchin'. Dude, they're
really good?
so good. They're only in issue 2, and it feels like when you're watching the original Arnold Predator, like page to page,
Really?
you're like riveted.
All right.
Dude, Alien and Predator and Marvel right now.
It's
great.
really good.
Yeah.
All right, so we have that. I mean, that's what I love about this. Also, you get into this idea of, again, just science fiction, Star Wars comics. That's science fantasy, obviously, but the Predator stuff, and then obviously, so make sure that you check out Eve, Children of the Moon. That's issue 1, which is great. Okay, we have got some more coming out, and that's Damn Them All is another one that's number 1. Now, Damn Them All is a Boom Studios series launch, and it's coming next week. And so we got to early look at the first issue, and the series is drawn by the legendary artist on The Walking Dead, Charlie Adlard, and written by Step by Bloody Step author Simon Spurrier. So what it does, it follows the occultist for hire Ellie Hawthorne, a.k.a. Bloody Elle. After the death of her uncle, an infamous magician and occult detective, 72 devils are mysteriously free to walk the mortal world, and it's up to Elle to figure out a way to damn them all back to hell. The first issue has some I was just going to say, remind me very much of Constantine. John Constantine vibes, and it feels perfect for fans of Something is Killing the Children and other action horror titles. Damn them all. It hits stores on October 26th. Now,
here's the thing. Here's the one. This is really funny because it reminds me of a pilot we did, some friends of mine, and it's very similar type of story in that regard. So I just got geeked out when I was reading this first book because I was like, "Yo, I'm loving
this is up your alley."
Yeah,
right.
But at the same time, I'm laughing because there's a reason why Boom is doing so well.
They know their market.
To not only know their market, but to be smart enough to be dropping all of this in the middle of spooky season where a lot of people won't necessarily have that forethought. They're just dropping books whenever. This is like the prime time to do this, and it's perfect.
Also, and this is tricky for me because I don't consider myself a horror fan, but horror comics have really got me back into horror movies. And this is one that I was like, this is what I want out of a horror comic. And Simon Spurrier, they mentioned John Constantine, did one of my favorite ever in the history of John Constantine runs. Simon Spurrier is one of the writers that if he writes something, I pick it up. So that's another thing about this company that I really like is that it feels like they know the writers that are not only topical right now, but also the ones that are coming up in a way that comic fans are excited about.
Yes, and it also seems like smart marketing around the sign. Like they're not shying away from the idea that it is, you're going to think of Constantine, right? But it's also, hey, guess what? Constantine, the sequel got announced, and they happen to have
There's some guy that knows Constantine a little bit.
So by putting this out there and you kind of relate to it, it's smart marketing subconsciously going, hey, because I got total Constantine vibes from it for sure. So that one is out once again. That is Damn Them All, and that's coming out on October 26th. Okay, so as we move on, some other things.
There's my boy.
There you go. So let's talk Berserker. This is the Immortal Pack. So that's coming out this week as well. Now, this collection of the first 4 issues of the groundbreaking best-selling series from Keanu Reeves features 4 all-new incredible covers by Andrea Sorrentino and Jordi Belair. Berserker's number 1s are increasingly hard to find, so it is an excellent collector's opportunity for fans of the series. Go ahead, Coy. Go nuts.
Someone was smart enough to buy 3 Berserker number 1s because he knew it was going to be huge. I love that we've got Sorrentino art because she is one of my favorite all-time artists. She does so much great work with Jeff Lemire. She's got incredible runs on Joker that I think are some of the images I now think of for Joker. Sorrentino, thank you. That said, the inside art is Ron Garney, who is is one of the... Okay, so my dad got me into comics. The reason I do any of this, the reason I'm here now, is my dad collected comics throughout his childhood, and then when I got old enough, that's something we bonded over and shared. When my dad had the entire Claremont burn run of X-Men, we literally read them together and talked about morality, and we talked about what it meant to be a good person. The reason I consider myself good is my dad in comic books. The only times I've seen my dad freak out, not when I'm meeting The Rock, not when I'm meeting Keanu Reeves. My dad was so excited that I was meeting Ron Garney at Comic-Con, he considered flying in from the East Coast. So Ron Garney is the artist inside Berserker, and Ron Garney is one of my favorite artists of all time. And turns out, because I got to work with him at Hall H, one of the coolest dudes. He's an expert martial artist. He's an absolute badass. He's got this like insane, I will be very happy to meet you until you mess with me vibe, which I respect. And he's not like what you'd expect from a comic artist. He's like ready to you'd see him at a bar like next to Wolverine before you'd imagine him drawing Wolverine. Much love for this whole team. And Berserker, the book itself, there's a reason you can't find number ones. There's a reason they're reprinting 1 through 4. And 1 through 4 is a great jumping on point because you get a whole arc of a story and it draws you in for more, but you can also just enjoy what you got out of that. So getting 1 through 4 out now is a great way to find out if you want to jump on before the end of this run.
Going back to that marketing thing, right? So this is another way to hype up a product that you know people are going to love, right? That's part one. Part two, you have one of the major movie stars, time we created it, so that's two. You know you have a project coming out that he's going to star in, that he could be directing. Right? So by getting people talking about it, getting people, like, and honestly, up front, having a show like this to say, hey, if you guys like it, talk about it because we want to get the word out to the audience that watches your types of show because there's more awareness of it. That's what they're doing because they have something that works and they have something that people are getting excited about, and the fact that it's selling out and people want it. So once again, if you didn't, if you want to go check it out, you have this Immortal pack. It is out this week, and it has the first 4 issues of the best-selling series. And again, it's hard to find, but that's how they were able to do this. So. Once again, thank you. Winston, you got the music ready or no?
No,
don't worry about it.
I didn't know you wanted to play it out, bro.
Why be consistent?
But why not tell me what you're going to do? You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever been on my shows before? I always start with the music and end with the music.
Do you, though? The Top Gun guy?
The Top Gun guy?
Capes and Cowls, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the show is. And
polished.
This is the perfect. Great timing. Maybe you should rethink coming on stage with us. How about that? Look at him. He's very proud of himself.
Of course I am. Of course I am. Are you kidding me?
Great. Keep going. Yeah, good. You're going to get a copyright check. Perfect. Thanks for joining us, and thank you to Boom Studios for sponsoring that segment and for again making us aware, making you aware. I got so much feedback from the audience last week about the fact that we were doing this and that we were working with Boom. People were very excited. People were very aware of Boom. People were very like, wow, you guys are working with Boom Studios. That's amazing. So glad they're part of it.
I also want to thank the audience. I make the foolish mistake of reading the comments on YouTube, and to see you guys positively talk about my getting you into comics means a lot. It compensates for a lot of the vitriol on the internet. So thank you so much for picking up comics because we talk about it. Like, that makes all of this worth it for me. So thank you. And if you get any of these, tweet us. Let us know what you're picking up. Let us know what you're enjoying. I'd love to hear what you're reading.
And tweet Boom. Let them know that you honestly. Let them know that you heard about.
I wasn't ready.
You don't need to. Play it when I mention.
Every time you say the word
Boom, I don't know.
No, but tweet it at them and let them know that you heard about them or you picked up comics because you heard it on Capes and Cowls on Big Thing. Okay. Last thing before we go, because Winston really needs to get out of here. So let's get into this last thing. We have to talk Black Adam. So Black Adam, for people who don't know. I don't know where you've been, especially if you're watching this show, but this is a movie that's coming out, and Winston is not going to, had not seen it yet. So Winston will not be on, normally we do the spoiler reviews like on Monday with the three of us. So it'll be Coy and myself who are kind of going onto the deep dive on Monday, but Winston, myself, and Coy will be seeing Black Panther next week, and we'll be able to start giving you guys we will have a spoiler review on that when we're able to. So this is something that we talked about Roca and Snyder before. They also have a bet going on right now, and I won't tell you who yet. But one of them said that it's going to make $100 million. The other said no way. I think the no way person is right, and I think it makes 65 to 75 opening week. Now we're not talking worldwide. We're talking domestic.
Okay,
75 domestic. But the person. Coy, where do you stand? Do you stand on the person who said 100 or no?
I'm gonna go 100 because It's a superhero movie. It's got a lot of word of mouth. It's a rock movie, and like the market right now, it's we haven't had a big movie in a little bit. We've had a lot of great indies. We've had a lot of good movies. We haven't had a big movie. I'm going 100.
Okay, and Winston?
No, if we're going over under, I'm gonna go under 100.
And you usually Winston's usually on.
I'm usually the one that overshoots.
No, you're usually the one that's on. That's usually
we get our box office wins.
Yeah.
No, I think it's going to do very well.
I do too.
100 though, I don't. 100 is reserved for like Spider-Man's, Black Panthers.
Spider-Man's like 150, 200.
No,
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm not saying having The Rock and people being excited about Superman isn't a big thing.
And it's also Spider-Man. It's also Spider-Man, and not an obscure character.
And that's the thing. I think if Black Adam was a bigger deal in the cultural lexicon,
Then the
tied with The Rock,
All right.
I think that would do it.
How confident are you? Because I'm willing to put a bet on it with you.
I mean, I don't have $100 million.
No. The bet would be you'd have to stop off at Joe's Pizza and bring a full Joe's Pizza here.
That's like $100 million. Joe's Pizza on the West Coast. It's like $80.
Get out of here.
Not that expensive. Damn, I might go to
I
Joe's
work on
for
the
lunch.
internet,
Yeah,
Winston. I make dozens of dollars a year. Dozens.
Hey.
All right. Well, anyway,
We make dozens of dollars a year.
would you want to know?
I'm not that confident. I'm scared.
Don't be scared.
I'm gonna own that.
Don't be scared.
Well,
What's your bet?
I think it makes 65 to 70. I think it tops out around 68. So also to be fair to you, it's not tracking at 100. It's tracking.
Oh, yeah, I haven't looked.
It's tracking at like 66, 67.
Oh, I'm really glad I didn't make that bet.
Yeah. So the reason why I think that it'll do a little better than that is because of the way The Rock has been marketing it, the way that The Rock has been out there talking.
Yeah.
He has brought more awareness to this character than anyone else could have. So, but to like the Black Adam character was way more obscure than like even Iron Man was, and Iron Man was like an obscure character for people. Like, I knew Iron Man, yeah, but you're not the general audience.
Right.
If you knew Iron Man, some people, I think I knew about that when I was a kid or whatever too. That's kind of how Iron Man came out, but it was the way that they built it up. Mm-hmm. But Black Adam has been made really relevant in the news because of The Rock and because of the potential of having Henry Cavill back in it. Those are the two reasons this movie's going to do well.
I think it will do well overall, but as far as its opening, I don't think it's crossing 100.
I'm with
domestic.
you. I agree. What would you say?
If I had to guess,
Yeah.
I'll go a little higher. I'll say it'll probably tap out around 77, 80. But I don't think it's getting beyond.
That would be
really 80.
overperforming.
That would, and I think
it's
it will.
possible. I think it's possible to overperform.
I think with The Rock's press, I'm gonna side with you now that I know what it's tracking at. I do think it's gonna overperform its tracking, and I do think it's gonna have legs.
I think it'll have legs as well. So, and again, it's a non-spoiler review. We'll get into that. Winston asked me because he had heard some things that it's not very good, and what I had said, and I stand by it because I said something on the other day that it's a popcorn movie. Like, what does that mean? It's a popcorn movie. Popcorn movie to me is it a paint by numbers movie? It is. Is it is it a bit predictable at times? It is. Is it over stylized at times? It is. Did I enjoy the hell out of watching it? I did, and that's to me. You can do something that you've seen a million times over, but was I entertained watching it? And I was.
We've seen the hero's journey in most movies.
Yes.
Like, Star Wars is based off, 3 stories that everyone has retold. But I think there does add some interesting elements with the anti-hero commentary, and I think it also does have unique action at times. And I think overall, it was a really, really good place for DC to be like, okay, we've caught our breath, we're going to go here, we're going to figure this out from there. And The Rock is doing something different than he's done before. And I was really impressed with that. I really like this take on The Rock. You should check out his interview over at Nerdist. I hear it's good.
I heard it's good too. But as people were saying, though, it's like the reviews have been like 60, or excuse me, like 48, 50%.
It's not that movie.
It's not. And people are, because clearly it's a bad movie. There's two things with that. This is not a critic's movie at all. This is not a critic's movie. Aren't you a critic? No, I'm not. I've never said I was. I'm someone who talks about movies after I see them. Like, I the same way that you just talk about it with your friends. I've never claimed that I was a professional movie critic. I think William Bibiani is a professional movie critic.
He's gonna love it.
I think Alonso Duralde is a professional movie critic, right? Those are people who really. Christy Lemire, professional movie critic. I don't think that this is a critic's movie. I don't. I think that they're going to analyze that and say, what is the difference between movies in the comic book genre and this is nothing wrong with that, but saying what is the difference between this and that. This is, to me, again, num 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 num, and I want more than that. And you might not like it. But the music's incredible.
Oh, the music's great.
But to that point, two of the biggest movie stars in the world, in Kevin Hart and The Rock, which I love their friendship and whatnot. How many of their movies have been that deep, to be honest with you?
True.
Most of them, why they are so good at what they do, most of their movies track around 30 to 50 as far as like the rating.
Yeah.
But you go because you're like, I'm going to watch Kevin Hart be Kevin Hart. I'm going to watch The Rock be The Rock. That's
Rock
why
is
you
The
go.
Rock in this. And there are things, like I said, like there are things like, again, with when he shows up and he starts talking in perfect English. He's been asleep for 5,000 years in a different country. When the States and English wasn't even
Well, question: does he have his powers?
Yeah.
That would make sense then.
Just wakes up and starts talking perfect English.
Because I'm assuming that he heard anybody talk for half a second. Part of the power is the wisdom. It's the wisdom.
The wisdom of Solomon.
Well, or whatever the Egyptian version of it is.
My point in any of it is,
I get it.
Who cares?
No, I know.
But there are other movies.
Yeah.
There are other movies when you go, wait a minute, let's dive into that. You didn't even get into why. But this is not that kind of movie. And I'm very curious what the audience thinks, but I do think it makes between 75, 80 million. I do think that the way that they market it was very smart. I think The Rock is doing a good job doing it.
Sometimes I want a nourishing meal like Everything All at Once. Sometimes
Cotton
I
candy?
want steak like Top Gun Maverick. Sometimes I want a nice burger and fries.
Top Gun guy?
And that's Black Adam. Burger and fries. I had a great time.
Yeah. Anyway, there's so much more that we didn't get to today that we'll have to get to next
What was the
week.
last thing you were going to say about Lupita?
Oh, you want so?
I'm just very curious what that was.
Let me find that story. Hold on a second. I'm glad you brought that up. So where?
I see it in the Nwongo on the.
2 up from the one that's like the 2 down now from there. There you go. See it?
Okay. So let's talk about.
Love that costume.
So
Looks so good, man.
Okay, so Lupita Nyong'o's. I don't know what she's doing. She's doing press yet for this. Maybe she is, but
That would probably be what it is because we're 3 weeks out.
Yeah. In recent years, this is from Dark Horizons, Garth Franklin, or I think there's all their articles. In recent years, plenty of people have weighed in the question of the artistic merit of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Ever since Martin Scorsese dubbed Marvel Studios' blockbusters as not cinema back in 2019, whilst trying to make a larger point about big-budget filmmaking, the internet regularly seems to want to declare war over quotes by filmmakers, actors, and the like who criticize Marvel's approach. Every now and then, though, you'll get a thoughtful and considered answer from someone who's been on both sides of the filmmaking coin, someone who has been involved in both scale and more personal projects and understands not just their differences, but also in different merits. This can be said today in an interview with Lupita Nyong'o, out promoting Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Speaking with THR, she offered her considered take, which says the film's industry should put on a focus on a consumer choice as a variety of options and is what healthy for cinema overall. I think to be culturally prosperous, to be artistically prosperous as a people, is to have options. I personally love a good Marvel movie, but it doesn't take away from really wanting the little character-driven film. I believe in the fight for those things to be kept alive because the one thing we always want, the ultimate privilege, is choice. It becomes a philosophical question about what is art and what is purpose. I believe that art plays a role in moving the people that experience it, and a lot of people are moved by Marvel. Are you being moved by this thing less important than me? Is you being moved by this thing less important than me being moved by Picasso? It's a great answer.
I think that's phenomenal, and I think that's spot on, which is why I got so upset personally when Scorsese was just like, this isn't art. It's like, bro, to that point, I know this sounds wild if we're just staying within TV. I have just as much fun watching the trash stuff of like the Bachelor franchise as people do like the Real Housewives of the Kardashians as I do sitting down and watching Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones. Like they hit a different spot that is equally as important, and there is a narrative story that still has to be told for you to like genuinely bring it in. So maybe one is a little bit higher art, and that's fine.
Salad, steak, burger, man. All different meals. And to be
Absolutely.
honest, so many of my favorite actors watch reality TV in order to escape or to feel something different because they're so like Tom Hardy is a huge reality TV fan. He gets a lot of his characters from watching that stuff because he gets emotions from it in a way that he can't connect with movies because he works on so many sets. So I think in order to have, and it sucks because it's Scorsese, who is a very genius director, who is very talented, but to have anyone disparage another art to elevate yours in some way is always disgusting to me.
And look, it's not just him. He's
He's one of many.
Even what's his face from Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Don't forget Ethan Hawke, who was just in Moon Knight, crapped on Marvel and comic movies not too long ago. Like
But
3-4 years
then I
ago.
like his, he came back and said that thing about art though, and he's talking about like what your experience with art is and how he misspoke and like he kind of like backed it up, and I liked it. But
I mean, look, whatever his words, that's fine. I'm just saying that people say it all the time. I mean, Stephen Dorff,
Alan
who's been in
Moore,
comic
writer of
movies.
Watchmen, said
Right.
that comic book movies at this level lead to infantilism, which is one step closer to fascism. He literally said this is how we're gonna have a fascist dictatorship, and I was like, bro, go back to the cave. You're a genius. Man. Fucking up.
But either way, but like so Martin Scorsese, who is just comes from the old school, and you got to remember also the same way that like your parents, your grandparents, they have different philosophies than you do also. And this is the same guy who also said, recently about blaming that studios spend too much time on box office. Marty, I love you, dude. It's a business. It's a business.
Show business.
Yes, but it's a business, and it's like it's different now because it's like I don't disagree that it's got to be frustrating from filmmakers who put like a lot of craft in trying to tell a particular story, but it's not 1976 when you put in a full-on drama and you can do great box office anymore because the box office is there's so much budget that goes into it now that you have to either make even or make so much more money. These movies now, they do better on streaming.
The two things the two things that stick out in my mind is one, this is the age-old argument that every generation has about music. Well, back in my day, we had good music. What's on now is trash. Right. No. It's their experience, it's their culture, it's their society. It doesn't make it any less music. Some of like bad music is bad music because there's bad music in the 70s you can go and talk about, but it didn't survive, right? So you just have to
Bailing's album.
So to that point, you just have to understand that the things that are truly well done will survive the test of time.
Be my Valentine.
So there's but the other thing is
Bailing's Be My Valentine.
Suffer.
But the other thing that I will give credit to, it sounds weird to be crediting Entourage, but one thing that Ari always said, one for you, one for me. So you have to do a Marvel movie so that you can do your indie movie.
That's how it goes. But all right, look, we talked a lot.
Big show.
A lot of good stuff here.
Big show on the big thing.
Yeah, so listen, thank you once again to Boom Studios. Check out that stuff. Make sure you tweet them if you do get their stuff, and make sure you do get their stuff. Thank you again to JOYMODE, Trade Coffee. And thank you to you guys. We appreciate you very much. Please, 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 please make sure that you go on over to the T-shirt store. Get yourself a Capes and Cowls logo. There's a lot of different things up there. The Top Gun guy.
The Top Gun guy?
That is up there as well. There's a lot of those. And we thank you so much. Please comment, do the same thing. If you're on Patreon, I look forward to talking to you over there. Make sure you check out our rewatches. We got so much coming up. You guys are the best. We love you, and we'll see you on Monday with Coy and myself doing the Black Adam spoiler review. All right, everyone. We'll see you on the flip side. Peace.